Hi everyone, this is Andrew Vargas speaking. I'm the founder and CEO of DICOM Lab, and we have started a new series which we call The Waiting Room. And in this series, we are going to talk with a number of colleagues from all across Europe who we met in the past 2 years of our international expansion on the European market. And we're going to talk about the current situation, what we doctors are facing now in all the countries. This is a very unique and new situation, what we are facing, and I'm pretty sure that these brilliant minds and these colleagues from all across Europe will have some cool thoughts and some interesting ideas or some personal experiences which might be helpful for all of us. So these small 20 minutes, 30 minutes chats are aiming to have a little coffee break from this stress what we are facing now, and let's try to help each other, and let's try to learn to overcome this situation as fast as possible. So I would like to introduce my first guest, who is Dr. Wijnand Bekker. He is from Amsterdam, from the Netherlands. He's a really cool guy, having some really interesting hobbies, and he's also having his practice in Amsterdam for 14 years now. He's been placing implants for 12 years, so he has a great experience as a general dentist. So I would like to welcome you, Wijnand.
Hi, Andy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And I'm really, really interested in what's happening in the Netherlands, and how are you? How are you facing this current situation?
Well, I'm doing really good. Thank you. Work at the moment has almost come to a total standstill. So that's kind of strange to experience, because normally we're always like really fast and life is really fast happening around us. At the moment, only emergency treatments are allowed. So that's a very big change for us at the moment.
Are you involved in emergency treatments?
We do emergency treatments in our own clinics. And there are some clinics that are specially equipped for treating corona patients. So we only do the emergency treatments on people that don't have any symptoms and are not sick at the moment.
Yeah, so I suppose you have like a strict protocol, like how to include or exclude these patients.
Right. So when people call you, you immediately have to ask them, do they have symptoms? Do they feel sick? Do they have a fever? Are they in some sort of a health risk group? And if they are, then they're not allowed to come to our private clinic. Then we have to send them to these special locations where they can be treated as well. And even though when those people come in, we have special protocols. So now with every treatment that we do, we're wearing this surgical gown. And in between treatments, the rooms are being even cleaned more thoroughly than we were already used to doing, right?
Yeah.
So because I think our hygienic protocols, at least here, are at a very high standard already.
Yeah. And what about testing? Like, do you have a governmental support or private clinics where you can, let's say, test yourself on corona if you
Right. Well, there was this email sent around to doctors that they were now were now able to being tested, but testing is very scarce here. There are not a lot of tests available, so this is a problem, and this doesn't allow us to test everybody. And now they gave us the opportunity to have us tested, like the doctors, but there's a really big run on these laboratories, so eventually you're not being tested anyway.
Yeah.
And Yeah, that's I think one of the big problems that you don't know what you're fighting, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. And what were those things which helped you to respond this crisis effectively? Like you mentioned that you already had a high standard in terms of hygienics and cleanings. So
Right.
that's already a big advantage when you're facing such a situation. Can you share some more thoughts on this?
I think in our field as a dentist, not much has changed. What we did found out, or what we thought, what might be helpful, is to have people rinse with um, I don't know what's it called in English, hydrogen peroxide, probably.
Yeah, yeah, I think we all understand that.
Right. But the difficult thing is there's a lot to be read about it, and we don't actually know what helps and what doesn't help. So we do what we think that helps clean like the mouth before we do treatments. We have people wash their hands or disinfect their hands before they enter the clinic or the room. And people are not allowed to rinse or spit in the spittoon. So yeah, they're minor adjustments, not really big, because like I said, the hygienic protocols were at a high standard already.
Yeah, yeah. I also believe that professionally speaking, the effect of this situation on us dentists or practitioners, it's quite similar all
Right.
across Europe. But I think what might really vary is like how did it affect you as an individual, as Wijnand.
How it affected me. Well,
Yeah, like how did your life change? What are you up to now? Like, what
well,
are you
well,
doing?
like I said, my life is normally at a really fast pace, and I'm trying to keep a good balance between like work and family. And yeah, to be honest, it's quite surreal to be home all the time now. My kids
Yeah,
are home. I have two kids. They're 10 and 12. So yeah, that's a really strange situation to be in already. And yeah, I had time to catch up with some recent literature,
yeah,
and I also had time to work on a course which I will be giving in the future. And yeah, apart from that, I'm just doing my hobbies.
yeah.
And apart from that, there's not much to do anyway. So yeah, you're just home, you're doing some chores, and wives are all of our wives are asking us to do the chores that were on that we had to do already for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I think the situation is really weird because we don't know when it will end and how it will end. But
Sure.
actually, putting this thought aside, I'm pretty sure that in a couple of years we will look back at this time and we say like, wow, I could have done so many things with my free time, or yeah, maybe we will be we would be happy to have some of this time back in the future. What are your hobbies? What are you up to?
My hobbies. Oh wow,
Yeah.
music, definitely music. I play the drums. I play the piano. I do some singing, so that's like my main interest. And apart from that, I guess Netflix, TV.
Okay, so maybe a new album is coming out from you soon, huh?
Oh, no, I don't write any music. I wish, but no, I chose to be a dentist, and this is actually really a hobby, and I really enjoy doing it. And it's at a medium level, which I like, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't all be you can be a professional in everything you do, right?
yeah, yeah. That's true.
It's
If
too
you're
difficult.
already good at one thing, then you're lucky.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
there's too many interests, and it's very difficult to divide your time between all the things you like doing. It's interesting what you said, like when we look back at how much time we now have to spend on other things than what we normally do, like work. I think it's very interesting to see that my first response was first that there was this slight panic, right? Because there were pictures going around of grocery stores completely empty, so that scared me a little bit. I was like, "Oh, are we able to get any food even?" But that turned out to be okay. And obviously, the financial part scared me a little bit. But now I found that the government has put out some financial aid to help the companies to stay afloat. And that actually made me relax a little bit. And now I have so much time at hand that I play the piano like an hour a day. But that's to really take my mind off things, because you're normally working, you're focused on such a small area all the time. So you need to get your mindset different when you're at home. And now I'm not doing anything. So it's very strange to start playing the piano, because it's an escape for me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's not an escape anymore. You're like, I can play the piano for 8 hours, but I guess I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Probably when we're in the situation again that we're working full time again, you're gonna look back at it and like, I could have played 8 hours a day. Oh my god, I cannot even play 20 minutes now.
Yeah, we will miss that. That's for sure. And how is you were mentioning some aids from the government in the Netherlands. How does your government respond now to this situation? What were the immediate reactions? How is it now? How are the people reacting? I know it's a complex question, but just in general, how do you see the situation in the Netherlands and around Amsterdam?
Right. So first of all, I guess it's almost the same everywhere now. We're not allowed to go outside unless it's for a short walk or getting groceries. Or those people that are in so-called vital professions are allowed to go to their work, and the rest of us is supposed to stay at home, work from home. And obviously there's the social distancing that we have to keep 1.5 meters apart. So those were like the initial measures taken to get the virus not to spread as fast as it was spreading. And I think it is very difficult to actually understand what's happening, because we as a professional, I get information from like the media, but also from like theory from articles.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes difficult to distinguish between what's true and what's not true, because they're talking like they're talking about group immunity, and that's something that's been pushed really hard in the media, and they don't actually know if it exists, if it's possible to become immune, even if we become immune, at what level we become immune. Can we still get sick again? So that's very strange. And at the moment, what we're doing is we're controlling how fast the virus is spreading, and all because of the fact that we don't have enough IC units for people to be treated when they're sick.
Yeah.
And this means that we're not actually we're not preventing people from dying from the virus.
Yeah, well,
It's only spread out over a longer period of time.
yeah, well, it's a very tough topic. It's a very hard question.
Right.
Like, what's the right thing to do here? But
We don't know.
if we need to wait for a vaccination, then I think the major question is like how the world will balance between an economical crisis and the strength of the healthcare units and the healthcare system. So this will be the game in the next couple of months, I would say, at least minimum. And then also the other question is, but this is just a personal thought, like, okay, what happens if a vaccination is coming out tomorrow? Will you trust it? Will you give it to your kids? When you know that normally to develop such a thing would take like 10 times more time and effort. So
totally true, and probably
so these are really tough questions.
I'm really curious about what this is going to cause, what effect it will have for the future, because at some point we're being tested, all of us, right? This is one of the biggest tests we're in 100 years, and we're being tested. Our economy gets hit really hard, and I'm very curious to see how we are going to change our lifestyles and set up our economy differently, so that if this happens again in the future, we don't get hit as hard anymore, because we already changed our way of interacting with each other. And then when we get an infection again, we're ready for it in a different way.
What will you change personally? What do you think? Like, let's say this is over, let's say in autumn or by Christmas, and
right.
Everything is allowed again. That you can travel, you can go to the groceries whenever.
No, I think that would change definitely. I think the social distancing part will stay with me for some time, because I'm very aware of, I need to go around people. I don't go crossing people anymore. So this is really strange and to experience. And when when we're in this situation even longer, this will stay with me even more. One of the things that's very interesting is that the first thing that we stopped doing was handshakes.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting, because everybody knows that a handshake, we give each other our germs. And then why are we still doing this? Why not differently?
Yeah.
And this is the things that I'm thinking about. But I think the main things that I will change is the way I look at how we interact. Like, for instance, we tend to touch our faces much more than we know. I mean, even when we scratch our nose, or when we have an itch, or even when you poke your nose. And this is something that you become more aware of, but that it's not just that somebody else is giving you the virus, you're giving it to yourself, because you're touching surfaces, and then you're touching yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking already, I treat a lot of elderly patients, right? And the first thing that came to my mind was, like, they take out their dentures like 5-6 times a day. Why? Why not maybe spit it out in a cup, or disinfect your hands before you take out your denture, right?
Yeah.
And these are the things that I think should change over time.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure it will. I'm pretty sure it really puts some new considerations, some new thoughts in everybody's everyday lives. The question is if it will stay with us or not, how long it will stay with us. But I'm pretty sure that there will be also some positive effects on this, on us, or on our behavior in the future. And what do you think about our profession, dentistry, general dentistry, aesthetic dentistry, implant dentistry, like the things which are now shut down for a while? What do you think about? Of course, it's impossible to say when will it come back, but like how, in what curve it will be coming back, and what will change in our patient's mind and in our dental professional mind. What do you think about that?
Right. Wow, that's one of the biggest and most difficult questions, I guess. My guess is that it's going to take a lot longer than we want, at least. So maybe even till the end of the year, I think we'll have effect that people will tend to postpone treatments, not come to the clinic like right away when we're open again. I think also what will have a big effect is the recession that we know is coming. So people will spend a lot less money on their teeth, or at least that's something I think that might happen. And it's also depending on how long the social distancing will stay in our society, because then we have to rethink like how we do treatments, how we have our patients come in and go out and go to rooms, and so I think those are the first things that we need to implement in the new situation.
Yeah.
And dentistry, I think people will always will have their teeth fixed, and I think it's more a financial problem in the future than that people will not come to the clinic, because I think even when you're talking about aesthetics, people will always want a nice smile and invest in it as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think that will change a lot.
Yeah, that's right. And now I also ask you, because you're using our technology for a year now, and you're quite you're having a digital mindset in way of how you're treating your patients. Speaking of imaging, speaking of guided surgery or the prosthetic part, like what. Now, the way how I see it, everybody in the world, regardless of your let's say professionality or your profession or the way of your living your life, we are kind of forced to be more digital, right? Like now, that's how we meet people. That's how we celebrated Easter. That's how we hang out with our friends. I remember that 3-4 weeks ago. All the Skype sessions were starting with 5 minutes of "Hello, do you hear me? Are you here?
Right.
I hear you." And we only use Skype. Like,
right.
I mean, like the public. And now we know like dozens of different video chat or video communication platforms. We just go online. We start to speak immediately, and these are minor things, but it shows me that this forced digitization is really having an effect on everyone. Do you think it will also have an effect on our profession and on how we are consuming or digital dentistry, or how digital dentistry will maybe it will give a hit for that, or opposite? Maybe it will slow it down. I don't know.
I think digital dentistry is always a very high, a big part of our implantology or treatments. And I don't know. Would you maybe like when you've made a plan for a patient, would you maybe talk him through it online? For instance, right? You can have your computer at your clinic. You just log in, you invite somebody, and at least that appointment you can do online. You don't have to actually meet each other. So that's maybe something that could change. Because, like you said, people are now more easily using the the Skype or whatever, the Zoom, and forced into it actually. And I think that's a good change, maybe.
Yeah, like as you said, unnecessary human interactions or physical interactions,
Right,
or
right.
unnecessary steps in a workflow. Like all these things are actually also pointing to the same direction. Yeah, yeah. That's
Right, and
all.
if we're talking about hygiene, we all know that a physical dental impression is a carrier for germs, right? And they're very difficult to disinfect. And in this sense, it makes more sense to make a digital impression and use that. And I believe that those that the digital impressions now are at such a high level that there's no reason for us to not use them anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the thing I think I should or I would advise my colleagues to, if you don't make digital impressions yet, start looking in that direction and make sure that in the near future you can.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Definitely.
And so what do you think? So you said like probably according to your estimation, this situation will stay with us till the end of the year. Do you already, or like, yeah, of course, who knows? But
Who knows? That's so difficult.
I think everybody who's thinking about this or who's running his own business, we need to have something in our brain where we adjust our business plans, adjust our HR situation, like everything, you know, just to adjust our life to. And so what are your steps? What is your action plan to get back to reopening, to real life? Will you make some preparations prior to that? Will you reach out to your patients before that? Are you doing some communication, or you are preparing for like a big boom when you're opening your clinic? How do you see that?
Actually, I think it's the latter, the big boom. There's not much we can prepare for, also because we don't actually know what is coming,
Yeah.
and in what form or way we are going to reopen. So the thing that I think I see it happen is that we just at some point are open again, and then we have to work like from 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening to at least get back up back at the track that we were, right? So
Yeah.
we have to make up for the 3 months or 2 months that we've not been doing treatments. Patients are postponing treatment; they're still waiting on the treatment, and new treatments are coming.
Yeah.
So. I think it will be a very chaotic period, maybe, that we have to really look at how we are going to be as efficient as possible, because we're already back on schedule. There's people piling up, actually, right? Treatments piling up, and now we're going to reopen, but we cannot do the treatments as efficiently as we were used to doing.
Yeah.
Because probably the social distancing will stay a little bit longer. So I cannot only imagine that we have to be open for longer hours, that we spread our opening times, or maybe be open in the weekend or at the late night, or who knows, in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Well, and maybe also thinking about the patient's perspective, probably a patient will not be so happy or so patient to sit in a waiting room, let's say for 20 minutes or half an hour with a lot of other patients. So maybe we also have to be prepared and take care of the waiting room logistics, you know, and how it's
definitely. We've been speaking about people waiting in their cars outside, for instance. That might be a solution or a part of a solution. You've seen the dividers already, right? When we go to a grocery store, there's these big plastic dividers that keep us apart from the cashier. I've seen videos online or on television where people in Asia or China are having dinner with each other with this plastic divider in front of them on the table, so that they're at least they can be closer than this 1.5 meter. I think it's going to be different for every clinic, depending on the size of your waiting room and what we think that is most efficient. Also,
Yeah, yeah,
it's going to be a mashup of things, probably.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
So
very interesting times, right?
unbelievable, huh?
Yeah, yeah, and I think nobody would have thought of this. How big effect it will have on our lives, and yeah, it came so fast, right? Like
True.
everything changed, and we also we were thinking of when to launch this event, these discussions with colleagues, and we said we didn't want to launch it like right in the middle of the panic, or when it was completely new for everyone, because I think everybody was a little bit frustrated and still searching for what to think about this whole situation. But now probably we're a little bit more settled and can think more clearly. But it's hard. Yeah, it's a very hard thing, and we have to adjust. But it's really nice to hear that you're also looking at this situation in such an optimistic or like a positive, realistic manner, I would say.
True. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Wijnand. It was a great pleasure to talk with you, and I wish you and your family health and strength for the upcoming period of time. And of course, we are staying in touch.
Definitely.
And we are always here. We're always here if you would like to chat or if you would like to,
to
talk about.
I'll let you know. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Wijnand.
Okay.
And for the rest of you, thank you very much for watching. This was our first event such as this. This is going to be like a live chat. We call it the waiting room. It's going to be a series. This was the first episode of this series, and tomorrow we are continuing with Michael Tang from the UK, from England. So stay tuned. Tomorrow at noon, we will be back with another professional, with another colleague, and we will reach similar topics as today. So thank you very much for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you soon. Bye, everyone.